afternoon, our wonderful friends at home. How much we miss you and love you as we come to the end of our time together before our Christmas break. We have a very, very special Franciscan Friday in store for you as we move into today. And you're going to see a lot of the teachers you know and people you know who are going to send you a Christmas greeting by a very special spiritual traditions that they hold in their families. And so this is going to be a great moment for us to end this time together. So just sit back and enjoy as we move into Franciscan Friday.
I want to share one of my favorite Christmas memories, and I'd have to say it's probably my son's first Christmas, and really every Christmas since he's almost 3, so in his short little life. It's just amazing to see like the awe of everything, you know, like experiencing snow for the first time and seeing the snow again and seeing the Christmas lights and of course all the Christmas things too. But even just like now that he's getting a little bit older, he understands that like this is baby Jesus's birthday and he's so excited about that. And it's so awesome just to experience like the joy and simplicity of Christmas, and you know, just like how genuine kids are. It's just so beautiful and such a good reminder just to step back and like enjoy the moments and enjoy the little things and really appreciate, like I appreciate my son and my husband, but my whole family. Just appreciate like the people that you're with.
Hello friends. Without a doubt, my favorite Christmas tradition is the experience of our Christmas retreat that we put on at Camp Chris. I love going out there that Friday night, spending time with our students in fellowship and prayer. And then the next day, the retreat itself is very special for me because I get to experience with my family, including my parents, my siblings, and my grandparents. And it's just a wonderful time to get away from all the hustle and bustle of this season and prepare our hearts for the birth of our Savior on Christmas Day. So that's definitely my favorite tradition by far.
Hi, Trinity. What does Christmas mean to me? Well, Christmas means to me love, family, and a really cool tradition. So growing up, my stepmother and my 2 stepbrothers are Jewish. And so we were very fortunate to be able to celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah. And so every Christmas Eve, my brother and I would go down to my dad and my stepmom's house, and we would be with my stepbrothers, and we would celebrate Christmas Eve and we would celebrate Hanukkah. And one of the things that we always got on our Christmas plate was this little bag of gold coins that were really actually chocolate, but they represented gelt. And so one year we thought it'd be a really cool tradition to try to compete to win all the gelt. So we would start this tradition where we would throw the gelt along the floor, and whichever got closest to the floorboard would win that round, and they would collect all the gelt, and then we would continue to do it until there was one person left. And so this was a tradition that we did every single year from the time I was 7 years old all the way up until, I started to have children. And then we involved our spouses in it, and it's just something that continued to do every time we would visit our parents for Christmas. So then, not too long ago, each of my brothers and I all have children of our own, and we started this tradition with them when they were about 7, 8 years old, and we taught them how to gamble gelt. And nothing like gambling at Christmas time, right? And so those traditions are now passed on to our own kids. So every time we go to my parents' house, their grandparents, they always gamble gelt for the Christmas dinner and the Christmas season. So it's just a really cool tradition that we get to pass along to our own children. And it's just a really cool thing that we got to celebrate both Christmas and Hanukkah, melding our 2 families together and celebrating both traditions and both religions. And it's just a really happy time that I remember growing up, and it's really fun to see in our own children that they get to do the same thing. So from my family to yours, Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Fox in theology. I just wanted to share a little bit about my Christmas tradition with you. So we would always go, this started back when I was younger, when my grandparents were still alive. We'd always travel to Kentucky to be with our family. We had a nice, wonderful family, aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and brother. And every year, it was just so magical. The Christmas lights were up. And my grandma had this beautiful nativity scene. It was beautiful, so beautiful. It had this like glitter on it, so it shimmered in the Christmas lights. It was just such a magical thing. And so that's one thing that I remember that we now have, since they passed away, our family now has it. We set that nativity scene up. But also we would always go to Mass together as a family and worship the Lord together on Christmas Eve. And we were all dressed up and holding hands in prayer. And it was just such a beautiful time. And then we'd come back to the house and instead of eating a meal, we'd all share appetizers that everyone had made, everybody's favorites. And then we'd go and play like a tournament with our family of games. So we'd play like pool and cards and sequence, and just got to kind of play with different groups of family members. And so we got to kind of all bond that way. It was just such an amazing, beautiful time that I feel so blessed to have shared with my family this special celebration of the birth of our Lord. So I hope you guys have a great Christmas this season.
Hi everyone. A Christmas tradition that happened for my family actually happened later in life when we were living in Washington, D.C. Our family, I was fortunate enough to work for Catholic Charities there. And as you know, Catholic Charities, and any charity, they try to take care of those in need. And we started a program there where we would feed the homeless every week. And then at Christmas time, we would do a special dinner where we'd bring them all to Catholic Charities. And it was white tablecloths and the napkins and everything. And they just thought it was the greatest thing because they felt important and they felt like they belonged. And this was their Christmas time. So I got my family involved, and my wife and 2 girls. They would serve the homeless as well during the week, but also during that time. And they loved it. They loved serving them and making them feel so good at a time when they needed it. And then we took it a step further. My family and I, every year, we adopt families from all over, of families in need, kids in need. In fact, one year recently, we adopted 17 kids and went out and we go shopping. We buy them gifts and we wrap them and we send them off. And it's been to places like Oregon and California, but right here in Cleveland, when we lived in Washington, D.C. and all that. This time of year is a time of year to remember those who don't have. And if you can do that for somebody and make them feel good and give them the Christmas they might not have had, then you've had a wonderful Christmas. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas as well. Thanks.
One of my favorite Christmas traditions in our house is watching all the Christmas movies that are out there, from Home Alone to Christmas Vacation to The Little Drummer Boy and the Santa Claus and so on. One of the things about the Christmas movies that you may not think about when you're watching them is that they're really all based on the idea of love and family. Whether they're funny or they're serious, they all have that theme in there. One of my favorites is Christmas Vacation, and even though it's hilarious and just a crazy movie, in the end, it's really all about just being with your family and realizing what you have in the end is all you really need. And that's really what Christmas, I think, is all about. And God kind of did that with us by Him giving us His greatest gift, which was Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ being born on Christmas. It gives us that family aspect. No matter what, you have that family with Jesus Christ being born. So that's what I feel like Christmas is all about.
One of my favorite Christmas traditions is spent with my family on Christmas Eve. And before we open up presents, we will do a live reenactment of the Nativity story. And all of my nieces and nephews will dress up as Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus. And we read along with that story to really put what is most important in Christmas, which is the birth of Jesus. So we do that before all of the presents, before all of the fun and games. We put what's at the heart of Christmas, which is the birth of Christ. And that's something nice that we get to do together.
Hi, everyone. One of the very special traditions that my family does over Christmas is we celebrate something that's called Vigilia. It's a Polish tradition where we say a short little blessing of what we're thankful for, and we have fish and pierogies. And then after we have this big family meal, we go to midnight mass together. And after midnight mass, we still sit together as a family and we look at the Christmas tree. And each of us are allowed to open one gift before midnight hits and it's officially Christmas Day. So that's something that all of us really enjoy. It's a tradition that has been kind of passed down from generation to generation. It's something really fun and something that all of us enjoy. I hope all of you are going to enjoy your Christmas break, and I hope all of you have a safe holiday and a happy new year.
So when I was 9 years old, it was Christmas Eve, and we were all in bed, and I decided that I was going to sneak downstairs. So I snuck downstairs, and I was sneaking around the corner of the living room and dining room, and over a chair in the dining room was a Santa suit. And right when I saw it, my mom walked in, and she knew exactly what I realized at the moment. And she turned what could have been something that was really disappointing to a kid into something absolutely magical. She immediately pulled out an elf costume. And so away I went with my dad that night, which was a tradition of his that I didn't know about before, was he would go to his friends' houses dressed as Santa Claus. And this year, I got to go with him. So it was Santa and his little elf. And it was such a wonderful time, and I got to dance around in the backyard, you know, and that year it had been snowing. And I also, afterward, got to go in and have cocoa and cookies with the grown-ups because the kids at the house were always were sleeping again. And then what was the most magical part of that night is we decided to go to midnight mass, just me and my dad. And so we went to our church. We went to St. Richard's in North Olmsted. And I remember walking in thinking we really shouldn't be here because I'm dressed as an elf. And he had taken off his hat and his beard and, you know, the belt, and he just had his, you know, the Santa coat on. But when I walked in, the first thing I noticed was how beautiful the altar was with the trees and the candles, and it was quiet and the lights were low, and there's the hushed reverence of it was breathtaking. And that memory stuck with me forever. Never been back to midnight mass with my family like that or with my dad, but about 8 years ago, my husband and I started to do that. After some family gatherings on Christmas Eve, we decided to go to midnight mass one year. And ever since then, the two of us go to either 10 o'clock or midnight mass on Christmas Eve after, you know, the family festivities. And the first time I went with my husband, it was the same reaction. I felt like I was that little 9-year-old girl again, just in awe of the reverence and the beauty of a mass that you don't see any other time of year, that's just so special and so inspiring. So that's one of my most wonderful Christmas memories, and one that I got to share with my dad, and then I also get to share with now with my husband.
When I think of Christmas, I think of family. One of my favorite traditions is spending Christmas morning together with my family. Growing up, it was the absolute best. Waking each other up at what felt like the crack of dawn and spending the morning in our PJs, still half asleep, opening gifts we had gotten for each other, laughing, smiling, and enjoying each other's company. Even in recent years, with most of us having moved into our own homes, we still all gather together on Christmas morning at my parents' house. Albeit a little better dressed and a tiny bit more awake than we used to, but it still feels special just the same. Whenever my family gets together, it's always a great time. But the time we spend together on Christmas morning will always remind me of the love we have for one another and the joy that laughter and smiles can bring to others. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Christmas to me has always been family, from the first family of Christmas on. Sharing the joys and blessings of the season with my family is always my greatest gift. Merry Christmas to you and to your family.
One of my favorite memories of Christmas growing up as a kid is my family would always travel to Pittsburgh on Christmas Eve, and we would travel back to Cleveland late night Christmas Eve and into the very early morning of Christmas. And we would get the ride on the turnpike and see all the Christmas lights, but there was always this one church in Pennsylvania near the border that was up on a hill, and they had this long, super long driveway, and they would always line it every year with hundreds of luminaria. And it was just such a beautiful scene because it was kind of dark, but all you could see was these bags lighting the way to the church, and it'll stick with me forever. I love it, and I always remember about Christmas Eve and traveling.
So one of my favorite Christmas traditions or memories is when I was a little kid, we'd go on Christmas Eve every year, we'd go by my grandparents' house. They live downtown Cleveland, so we'd go down there, we drop off our Christmas presents for the family, then we go to 4:30 Mass at the cathedral, And my uncle was the rector there, so I had this special privilege of always serving the Christmas Eve, the 4:30 Children's Mass there. And here's a little picture of me, if you can believe it, serving. And I always thought it was so cool because it was only adults that ever served. So the fact that I was a kid serving, I always thought was really cool. So I'd serve Mass at the cathedral, and then I'd come back by my grandma's house, my grandparents' house. And there'd be about 15 of us in the house, and the house was not real big. So it was kind of Christmas Eve, and the dining room was really crowded and crazy and stuff, but it was so much fun because we were all together. We were all there to have fun and enjoy each other's company. And then after dinner, we would do dishes, and then when the dishes were done, we'd open presents, and it was just so much fun, so many good times, and those are the memories that it lasts me this day. I can still picture very vividly. We haven't, my grandparents both passed away, but I can remember these times, 20 years ago, like they happened yesterday. So those are some of my most cherished Christmas memories.
Hi everybody, Mrs. DeTore here, and I wanted to share with you a tradition that we have at Christmas. And to do that, I'm sharing with you my living room this year. That's Dixie there, always has to be in every picture I take, my dog. But anyway, wanted to talk to you about nativity scenes and what they mean to me personally about Christmas. In the lower right, you see there a nativity set that my husband's grandfather actually made. So you can imagine how special that is to us on that little table there. But the one I wanted to talk about is actually on the mantle, right under the wreath. Some people have very expensive nativity sets and they are also beautiful, but this one means a lot to me because it came from my little girl, Angela, who's not so little anymore. But let me show you a close-up of it. This is what she made for me when she was about 10 years old, and she used something called sculpted clay and did this when I wasn't home so she could surprise me. But you'll see there that she has the whole nativity. And on the left, we've got a shepherd carrying a sheep, and there's another sheep at his feet. And next to him is a cow. So we have a couple animals in our nativity there. And then we have Mary, of course, and her husband, Joseph. And you can see she chose to have Joseph have gray hair. They do have yellow halos that she carefully made. And then Joseph has a staff. That's that thing next to him. And on the right, you can see the three kings are already ready to come present their gifts. And there's an angel back there. And she used to have a trumpet coming out of her mouth to proclaim the good news. She can't go on top because you can see our stable there has a pointed roof. So she just kind of goes in the back. But what I wanted to talk to you about was that present on the left. We have a tradition in our house that Jesus doesn't go into the nativity scene until Christmas Eve. So you know how much I love Christmas. I've had my house decorated for a few weeks now, but we don't have the baby Jesus yet. We have to wait for him. And on Christmas Eve, when we come home from church, we will open that little present and there will be the sculpted baby Jesus, and we will put him into the manger scene. And it just reminds us of a couple things. One is that we all have to wait. We know the great news that's coming, but we need to get ready and prepare our hearts. And so we wait through Advent. And the other news is that with it being in the shape of a present, we know that what a present Jesus is. I mean, there's nobody who could offer us a better gift than our salvation. And that's what that baby does. So having the little baby in the box looking like a present helps us remember that. All right, everybody, Merry Christmas.
We pray that you guys have a safe and blessed Christmas.
Hope all of you get lots of rest and that you enjoy time with your family and friends and make wonderful memories. And remember how much we love you here at Trinity, and we all wish you a very blessed holiday. That's it.
We miss all of you. We're thinking about you every day. We pray that you have a wonderful Christmas with your family, and we just pray that you all stay safe so we can be back together, hopefully shortly after Christmas break.
I hope you guys all have a wonderful Christmas. Enjoy the time with your family. And we can't wait to see you guys back in the building.
We all want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. We hope you spend a lot of time with your families. We hope, if you can, that you get to church, and we love you very, very much.
All right. Hello, everyone. Hope you have a very, very Merry Christmas. And that it's safe, of course, and spend all the time with your family and get all the rest you need.
Wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. We miss you so much, and continue to spread joy and make people of joy in our time of waiting.
Enjoy this time with your family, eat lots of good food, get lots of sleep, and we all can't wait to see you soon.
And so, I want you in your beautiful minds to picture this, that right before we are getting together for Shout to the Lord, down in our worship space in the whole gym, what a legacy of that song that we send out to everyone at every time we're together for every Mass. And right before that, one of us would have stood up and wished you the most holy and blessed Christmas. On behalf of Sister Shawn, Mrs. Baccio, and myself, the Board of Trustees, and every one of these beautiful teachers, we miss you, and we just ask that you put Christ so in the center of everything that you do here, and remember to bring joy and love to someone who's lonely, and then we all cannot wait until the moment we're united back here in school, in person, together, which will be soon. And so, together, we all wish you Merry Christmas!